And now give the floor to Ms. Vjosa Osmani Sadriou.
Thank you, Madam President, esteemed members of the Council, ladies and gentlemen. The history of humankind has been shaped by our collective response in the face of aggression, tyranny, and oppression. As an organization founded on the ruins of war, the United Nations, upon its creation, committed to protecting the human rights from the scourge of destruction. It was meant to bring the world under one roof, to not only discuss but also to reflect, to not only meet but also to cooperate, to not only adopt resolutions but also to deliver. At the very foundations of the United Nations lays the ambition for a better, peaceful, and equitable world through invoking primarily and exclusively a human-centered policy approach. Today, as I stand here representing my country, the Republic of Kosovo, I'm reminded of the profound impact that democracies uniting for a common purpose have had in my country and in my people. It was only 25 years ago when NATO's intervention, coupled with the people's unwavering aspiration for freedom and liberty, marked not just a decisive turn in our country's history, but also a decisive milestone in the history of humankind. That intervention was not just about building peace. It was principally and most importantly about protecting the sanctity of human life and the rights of all people to live free from fear of destruction and persecution. It underscored the imperative that when one of us is threatened by tyranny, it is a threat to us all. It reminded us of the indispensability of acting as a united force in the face of grave injustice through protecting human lives at all costs. 25 years later, Kosovo shines as a resounding success and advocate for democratic values, embracing diversity, promoting multi-ethnicity, and advancing human rights for all. We have come a long way ever since, and we are witnessing an extraordinary and inspiring transformation. Our young republic has not only overcome the ravages of war, but has turned into an outstanding example of democracy in action, fueled by the vibrant spirit of our youth and the unwavering commitment of our people. Kosovo's global footprint in sports, the realm of music and film, in the burgeoning ICT sector, and equally so in science and innovation, driven by artists, sportspeople, innovators, students, entrepreneurs, and other professionals alike, is expanding and becoming more historic and impactful with every passing day. Each of these achievements encapsulates the essence of a people reborn, a people that thrives on hope, works with passion, and dreams with courage, paving the way toward a full future with possibilities and successes. Our history also exemplifies how our strength lies in the power of our alliances. We have made great strides because of our steadfast resolve to raise from the ashes of war, but equally so because of the support, the guidance from, and the partnerships we've built with countries that stood by us and with us during our darkest days. As a thriving and an ever more prosperous democracy, it is rule of law that stands as the core of every institutional undertaking, as best exemplified through our everyday endeavors to combat crime and corruption, ensure transparency, and guarantee justice for all. Our efforts have not gone in vain, as they have been widely recognized by some of the most prestigious global indices like Freedom House Report, VDEM Democracy Reports, Reporters Without Borders, World Press Freedom Index, Transparency International, and many more. At only 16 years old, the Republic of Kosovo remains the most pro-EU and pro-NATO country in the region and beyond. We understand that by joining this alliance, we not only have a chance to sit side by side with some of our greatest allies to engage in joint solutions to the benefits of global peace and security, but to also engage on the longevity and sustainability of peace and security in our region as well as at home. With a post-pandemic double-digit economic growth and an average annual growth of 6.2% in the span of past 3 years, Kosovo is also witnessing a promising economic prospect spurred by the doubled exports and foreign direct investment. Kosovo is not just prospering within its borders. We have steadfastly turned into a reliable international partner, one that no longer stands merely on the receiving end. Whether through our co-deployment missions with armies of our allied nations contributing to peace around the world, or by stepping up to help Ukraine, Kosovo is showcasing that it is able, willing, and capable of giving back. In this spirit, we are claiming leadership in implementing global agendas to the benefit of the greater good. Just last week, Pristina turned to the capital of global discussions on the Women, Peace and Security agenda. As a woman president and as the commander-in-chief of the Kosovo Security Force, and as a staunch believer in the power of women in transforming peace and security processes, I am confident that the WPS agenda can help lead our societies and our region to new heights. Through the just launched Regional Center on Women, Peace and Security, supported by Secretary Blinken's office, we look forward to working with all the countries in our region, as well as with each and every one of you, to lead our collective efforts for building sustainable peace through putting women and girls at the heart of our collective endeavor. A Kosovo for all, one that promotes diversity, inclusivity, and representation. This is the Kosovo we work for every day. We do recognize, however, that we still have a lot of work to do, because democracy, prosperity, and human rights should never be considered as finished projects. We should always strive for more and for better. We are committed to addressing the challenges together with our allies and partners by our side, guided by the highest international standards. Let me make it clear on the outset. Claims by Serbia on the alleged ethnic cleansing and persecution of Kosovo Serbs are false, baseless, and politically motivated. These narratives have also been thoroughly discredited by the Helsinki Committee for Human Rights all the way to the European Parliament and many other international organizations. Kosovo's legal and institutional structures not only protect, but actively advance the rights and security of the Kosovo Serb community as well as all of the other communities, promoting an inclusive society where all citizens are encouraged to thrive. By contrast, about 500,000 Serbs, about 500,000, have left Serbia during Vucic's reign in the past couple of years, according to Eurostat. So it should be rather clear to us who the Serbs are actually running away from. Kosovo Serbs, who make up about 3 to 4% of our population, are granted unparalleled legislative influence, such as the veto power over constitutional amendments and over every essential law concerning education, religion, local governance, human rights, ethnic minority rights, etc. In practice, this veto ensures their interests are safeguarded even if 110 out of 120 members of our parliament would vote otherwise. So it's in the hands of those 10 Serb members to decide. The Constitution and national laws ensure that the Serb language is recognized and used as an official language across all of Kosovo, providing education and all public services in Serbian language, affirming as such the community's linguistic rights. Equally so, as confirmed by credible independent reports, the Orthodox religious sites are provided the highest level of security, while the Orthodox Church enjoys particular protections under Kosovo laws. In fact, aside from a few isolated thefts common to all religious, cultural, and private sites, there have been no ethnically motivated attacks against the Orthodox Church for many, many years, as confirmed by NATO's presence in Kosovo, refuting any claims of ethnic or religious targeting. In fact, out of the 30 cases that have been registered in 2024, the vast majority of them have been against Albanians and one against the Roma community. Multi-ethnicity and multiculturalism are values which we cherish and we will defend at any cost, despite continuous disruptions and challenges caused by the violent and illegal interference of Serbia. Our commitment to building a Kosovo for all is no coincidence. It is grounded on our staunch belief that only a representative, inclusive, and open democracy is a sustainable democracy. But most importantly, it is grounded on our unwavering commitment to make sure that no one ever endures or has to go through what we had to go through. Unfortunately, even after 25 years from when NATO put an end to the genocidal campaign of Milosevic, the destabilization efforts and aggression by Serbia remain unfortunately ongoing and active. Over the past year, Serbia has escalated its constant aggression towards Kosovo, initially with the abduction of 3 Kosovar policemen within our territory, thereafter with attacks on Kosovar journalists, as well as the attack on 93 NATO soldiers, with some left with lifetime injuries. And the culmination was the act of aggression and the terrorist attack against Kosovo on September 24, 2023. Immediately thereafter, as stated by the White House, Serbia has deployed an unprecedented large military presence and artillery alongside our border with advanced artillery, tanks, and mechanized infantry units. Just a few days ago, they also tested their Irani drones exactly at the border with Kosovo. That's the kind of messages that they sent to their neighbors. Unfortunately, the perpetrators of both the September aggression against Kosovo, as well as the May attack against NATO, freely wander around Serbia to this day. Not only they have not been convicted, but they continue to receive lucrative financial contracts by no other than Vučić's government. Just last week, shortly after Kosovo's resounding success at the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, a human rights organization, Serbia escalated tensions by targeting buses carrying Kosovo citizens, including both Albanians as well as Serbs who work for Kosovo institutions. They confiscated personal documents and subjected individuals to prolonged interrogations, leaving passengers, including little children, without food or water or medical services for a very long time. Notably, Dejan Janković, the Serb deputy director of the Kosovo police, was detained alongside other police officers, highlighting Serbia's ongoing efforts to intimidate and undermine the Kosovo Serbs. What's very clear is Serbia's consistent efforts to disrupt the integration process of Serbs in Kosovo, using both criminal and terrorist tactics to exert control and spread fear, thereby undermining the security and constitutional order of the Republic of Kosovo. The Serbs who had integrated into the institutions of Kosovo were coerced into massively resigning due to pressure exerted by Serbia's illegal structures. Attacks on their properties, destruction, and risk to their lives with the goal of forcing them to leave Kosovo institutions are frequent scenarios invoked upon those who refuse to resign from Kosovo institutions. So yes, Kosovo Serbs are under pressure, but not by the government of Kosovo, but clearly by the government of Serbia. Just imagine a Serb politician who laid flowers in the grave of a 7-year-old Kosovo girl killed during the war was immediately arrested and tortured in Serbia's prisons. And this is the fate of every Serb who does not strictly keep with this man's line. As you might remember, Kosovo Serbs were forced by Serbia to boycott local elections last year. Just yesterday, we once again offered citizens in our northern municipalities the chance to recall their current mayors and elect new ones. Unfortunately, this opportunity was vastly underutilized, primarily due to coercive pressures from Belgrade, orchestrated by the Serbian list and illegal criminal structures. Despite these challenges, Kosovo upheld its democratic values, demonstrating political maturity and strict adherence to the highest international standards. So if there are Albanian mayors still in their offices, the Serbs in Kosovo have Vučić to thank for. A recurring narrative propagated by Serbia is the discussion around the Association of Serb Majority Municipalities. ASMM was initially signed as part of the 2013 agreement. I repeat, agreement. But it was never meant to become an isolated issue. Several conditions had to be met by Serbia before the ASMM comes to life, notably the obligation to dissolve illegal structures. Yet so far, Serbia hasn't delivered in any of those, but has turned those illegal structures into paramilitary ones that commit destabilization and aggression against all of its neighbors. While we know too well that non-implementation of agreements is Serbia's middle name, it is quite a hypocrisy for Serbia to preach of the necessity for our side to deliver while they constantly violate their side of the deal, or deals, because there are too many of them not implemented by them. Whereas when it comes to the Brussels Agreement of 2023, it does have 11 articles, not just one. However, before proceeding any further, Vučić should clarify whether he accepts the 2023 agreement, as his government clearly indicated in a letter sent to the EU that they do not. Whereas, on behalf of the Republic of Kosovo, I'm here to recommit to all of you, as we have many times before, Kosovo's intention to implement this agreement swiftly, entirely, and unconditionally. Let me be frank, a Vučić that really cares about the Serb citizens in Kosovo is not a Vučić that openly opposes Kosovo's membership in the Council of Europe, a human rights organization. If his truest intention is to advance the rights of Kosovo Serbs, which he claims as the underlying motive for the implementation of the ASMM, then Vučić should be the strongest advocate for Kosovo's membership in the Council of Europe, which evidently means more human rights for Serbs in Kosovo, not less. More human rights for all the citizens of Kosovo, no matter their ethnicity, no matter their religion or other background. Esteemed members of the Council, the memories of the war still echo starkly in the minds and the hearts of so many of us seated in this room. When searching for the right words to convey to the world the true meaning of war, I turned to Vasfia Krasniqi, Shurete Tahiri Sulemani, Elhame Muçoli, and Farie Hoti, who are sitting with me here today, the 4 members of my delegation, as well as to the women, men, elderly, and children tuning in from their homes or on the move. We have not just heard of wars. We've lived through the horrors of it. We have not just read about wars in history books. Our recent history was defined by one. We don't just look at images of a war, because the memories of war unfold with every passing day. The war is over, but the scars are left forever. I want to share with you just a few of more than 1 million stories that the people of Kosovo had to endure. 5 days ago, we marked the 25th anniversary of one of the cruelest, most inhumane massacres of the Milosevic regime. Elhame Muçoli, who's accompanying me today, was only 14 years old when her house was raided by Serbia's police forces. 53 civilians, the vast majority of them children, were initially fired at as they were all gathered in one room. While the police left to resupply, Elhame managed to jump out of the window and run away, despite being wounded by bullets. Shortly after, the police returned stocked with patrol supplies to set all of the 53 civilians ablaze. Elhame will never be able to forget the deafening screaming of some of the children that were still alive as they were being burned down to ashes. And as if that was not enough, the police set them on fire again and again and again. Little children, as young as 6 months old and 10 months old, were burned down in an effort to wipe them off from the face of the earth just because they were Albanian, just because they belonged to an ethnicity different from that of the policemen and the army of the country in the regime of which this man served as propaganda minister. The scale of the burning of the bodies of those little kids was so grave that the surviving family members were only left with so little of the dearest ones as to be able to put all of the 53 victims in one single grave. A memorial was built in remembrance of the victims nearby the place where it all happened, but no Serb politician in these 25 years, not a single one, ever came to kneel in front of the grave of those little children. And to only think that massacres of this scale took place in almost every corner of our country, with little kids, women, including pregnant ones, mercilessly killed because of the warmongering mindset that is still alive and kicking in Belgrade. So, ladies and gentlemen, one can listen to Vucic's propaganda and let him push his history revisionism based on Russia's playbook, but the only truth about his regime is one in which it is in constant denial and never accepting responsibility for these heinous crimes, never apologizing or even showing a sign of repent. Never. The massacre of Poklek, like all massacres around Kosovo, showed that Milosevic and his then propaganda minister, today sitting in the chair of a president, were not only seeking to wipe all Kosovo Albanians off the face of the earth, they also wanted to destroy evidence altogether and have no witness left. Yet, they failed over and over again. Elhame survived to relentlessly tell the world the story of her family and her nation. Never bitter, never asking for revenge. Despite losing her mother, 3 sisters, 2 brothers, and many cousins in this massacre, she has turned into a genuine embodiment of resilience and strength, and an unwavering champion for peace, reconciliation, but most importantly, defending truth and fighting for justice, justice for which they are still waiting for. While she sits with me here today seeking nothing but justice, Vucic, sitting over there, still offers shelter, protection, and promotion to the police special units and the army brigade that committed the crimes against Elhame's family. And I'm here to offer you not propaganda, but actually ICTY cases confirming this. In the ICTY case of Shajinovic et al., it was confirmed that the 86th detachment of the Serb Special Police Unit was present in Poklek on the day of the crime with these kind of operations, alongside with the 15th Armored Brigade and the 37th Motorized Brigade of the Yugoslav Army. Those in charge were identified, including the former commander of the 86th detachment. An organization in Serbia, the Humanitarian Law Center, gathered the evidence and pressed charges in front of the prosecutor's office in Serbia many, many years ago for those who were identified for killing these little kids. Yet, as of today, nothing has been undertaken by Serbia. Quite the opposite. The police officers leading this massacre were promoted to higher ranking positions and continue to receive honors. Today, I am also joined by Vasfia Krasniqi-Goodman. She was only 16 years old when she was raped, not once, but twice, by Milosevic's police forces. They wanted to destroy her and to kill her hope. That is why they so mercilessly chose one of the cruelest tools of war, rape. "You will suffer more if we let you live," they told her, as she was begging them to kill her. In spite of living through horror, Vasfia has thrived to fervently embark on her mission of raising awareness globally about the brutal crime of sexual violence in war and to becoming my special envoy on wartime sexual violence. Today, she's working closely with partners in Ukraine, in the Middle East, in countries in the African continent and elsewhere, sharing her expertise on most fitting approaches to support survivors of sexual violence during the war. She's committed herself to being there for survivors globally and has turned into their voice until the time is ripe for them to speak out themselves. In this noble mission, she is joined by our very own Shurete. Shurete Tahiri Suleimani, who's also part of my delegation today, is also one of the thousands of survivors of sexual violence from the last war in Kosovo. In 1999, she too was a target of this most inhumane war crime. She was raped in front of her little daughters, aged 3 years old and 1 year old, respectively. Milosevic's forces committed these atrocious acts in front of little kids, wanting to make sure that the hurting and the pain spans across generations. They wanted to kill the spirit of a people that always stood up for peace, liberty, and democracy. Yet they failed. While Vasfia, Shurete, and her daughters still grapple with the trauma of the war, they are unwavering in their commitment to leave no stone unturned to make sure that others never have to experience what they have gone through and that justice is served. They have chosen action over despair. They have chosen to speak up, to advocate against stigma, rallying a whole country around their cause and working tirelessly, not just pursuing justice, but also amplifying their voice and the voices of wartime sexual violence survivors in Kosovo and everywhere else in the world. Every day we witness the extraordinary resilience and determination of Kosovo women who refuse to be silenced by the horrors they endured. Their fight against stigma and their quest for justice are exemplary. I will keep repeating over and over again, holding perpetrators accountable for these heinous acts is our moral responsibility. Yet, the number of cases where Serbia had put perpetrators of wartime rape behind bars is zero. Zero. Because of this despicable war, in almost every corner of my country, you will still face the many shades of the aftermath of the war. I am also humbled to be joined today by Fahriye Hoti. In Krusha, the village where Fahriye lives to this day, together with her children, almost all the men were killed mercilessly, and all the children grew up without their fathers. Some still remaining forcibly disappeared, including Fahriye's husband. Overall, more than 1,600 persons from all around Kosovo are still forcibly disappeared in massive graves in Serbia. Despite agreeing to open the archive through an agreement reached in Brussels, Vučić constantly rejects to implement it. The forcible disappearance of our citizens, many of whom were children, represents one of the most monstrous crimes of the Milosevic genocidal regime. Therefore, once again, we demand their return and continue to work with resolve to pursue justice. This pursuit is not simply about finding answers. It's about affirming our commitment to human dignity and to ensuring that such atrocities are never repeated. Despite facing unimaginable loss, Fahriye never surrendered. She transformed her grief into action while turning her pain into unwavering determination. Today, she leads Cooperativa Krusha, a business that not only revived her village's economy, but became a powerhouse for its renowned products across Europe and the United States. Most importantly, she became a symbol of hope and empowerment for women in her Krusha, in all of Kosovo, and across the world. What Milosevic and his propaganda minister Vučić wanted was a people that was scarred and broken. What they got is a people who are resilient, compassionate, and unwavering in their ambition to make never again a reality and not just a slogan, while putting the pursuit for justice center stage. What they got is a people that never seeks revenge, but will never give up on justice. Ladies and gentlemen, 25 years ago, nations around the world faced a critical decision: to choose between supporting a genocidal regime or stand with the victims of that regime. The people of Kosovo will forever remain grateful that you chose humanity over repression. You chose the right side of history, committed to act before it was too late. It was, unfortunately, already too late in Srebrenica, where over 8,000 men and boys were ruthlessly killed with the sole intention of exterminating them, a genocide in the heart of Europe. We may not be a member of the United Nations yet, but we wholeheartedly support the resolution on Srebrenica genocide. Defending the truth, fighting history revisionism, and rejecting genocide denial is the only way towards long-lasting peace and reconciliation. While it unfortunately took the world 29 years to agree on a Srebrenica Genocide Commemoration Day, and many of the mothers of Srebrenica have not lived to watch you while you vote on May 2nd, it is the hope of the women standing with me today, and the hope of the people of Kosovo who went through the horrors of the Milosevic regime, that we will live through the day when you will all agree to fight for justice for all of the victims of Kosovo. I assure you all that in the free, independent, sovereign, and democratic Republic of Kosovo, a republic that is there to stay forever, and among its people, you will always find a partner and an ally who does not take freedom and peace for granted. Our story is far from over, and much of our potential is yet to be fulfilled. But our future is bright. I am confident that one day we will join you at this table, becoming part of the family of nations that currently makes up the United Nations. And as we make great strides forward, I want to reassure you that no attempt by Serbia to deny war crimes or revise history will ever succeed as long as we have a voice. Thank you. Obviously, what President Vučić just stated is entirely false. So I'd like to invite each and every member of this council to actually visit the Republic of Kosovo, so that you can see for yourselves the progress that we have made, the democracy that is thriving. And then you can understand and decide whether you want to believe your own eyes or his lies. I did not, as accused by Serbia and Russia, talk about the past. I spoke about the Kosovo of today. But the Kosovo of today is also shaped by the pains of the past because of one simple reason, because of the lack of justice. We all know, and we have learned from history, that peace requires dealing with the past. And in that sense, instead of spewing propaganda, Vučić today should have told us whether he regrets belonging to a regime that caused more than 150,000 civilians killed, whether he regrets anything from his career in the 90s, whether he regrets calling for genocide in Srebrenica from the lectern of his parliament, whether he regrets standing behind Šešelj when he said we should leave no Albanian left alive, whether he regrets expelling all journalists from the country during those wars, whether he regrets glorifying Milosevic just a year ago, calling him a great man with great intentions, whether he regrets the fact that he belonged and served so loyally to that regime. The victims of that regime, Mr. Vučić, are standing right here. Take a moment and apologize to them. Show everyone whether you have even a little bit of a glimpse of humanity left in you.
Thank you.